using our resistance bands. So we're going to be using a long TheraBand and a smaller mini loop. And we're going to be trying to target the muscles that create stability and what we know as force closure around our pelvis. So lots of work into our glutes, lots of work into our back, our lats, and our core. I hope you enjoy it. So we're going to start with our mini loop. Just have your long band nearby. And I'm going to get you to step into the mini loop so it sits just above your knees. From there, you're going to come down onto your hands and your knees. And just spend a little bit of time finding a position of neutral through your back. So you're neither rounding the spine up toward the ceiling, nor are you arching it down towards the mat. So we want a position where you're in a neutral alignment. So a very mild inward curve at the base of your spine. Lift the breastbone up and keep our neck nice and long. For your first minute, as you breathe out, I want you to reach your right leg out long into the resistance band. So we're using a little bit of resistance to try and engage a little bit more through the back of that leg. So there's a few watch points as you're gliding that leg in and out. First watch point is that as your leg's going out behind you, we're not joining in with our lower back. So our lower back doesn't change shape. So your back isn't rounding or arching as you're moving. You've got that really solid base from the middle. The other watch point is that you're not tipping to your left. So as you reach your right leg out behind you, you're able to keep a vertical thigh on that stabilizing leg. Okay, so we're going to keep gliding that leg in and out. 3, 2, and 1. From there, we're going to come up, grabbing hold of the band. Take our knees slightly wider, bring our heels together. As you breathe out, we're going to pull the band through the front of the thigh, squeezing at the heels as you go. Breathe in, release the arms forwards. Breathe out, pull the band back, connect the heels. So you're trying to stay as tall as possible, like a helium balloon, pulling the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. And each time you pull the band across the front of your thighs, I want you to feel these muscles down the back, down the shoulders working. I've got the knees wide and our heels touching to create extra stability, extra closure around the back of the pelvis. And by squeezing those heels, we'll just start to fire up a little bit more around the base. Okay, so I'm going to keep going for another 10 seconds. Tall and long through your spine. 3, 2, 1. We're back onto hands and knees. We're going to repeat that leg straightening on the other side. So again, pay attention to your start point. Find your neutral. Keep your weight very much in the center. Breathe out, reach your left leg out long. Breathe in, fold your left leg back in. So try and create as much length through your leg as possible. So we don't leave a bend in the knee, we're pointing those toes. Try and touch the wall that's behind you. And just watch that weight shift. So maybe every so often we look down. Okay, is that right thigh still vertical? Try and hold it there as you press and reach. To connect a little deeper into your core, try and coordinate this leg reach with a breath out. So you're breathing out and into that long reach of the leg. And then breathing in to tuck it back in. Glide and bend. We're going to keep going for another 10 seconds. Checking in with your form. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're back with our long band. So go slightly wider than your feet, heels touching. This time we're going to bring in more of a hip hinge, more work through our glutes as we're working our lats with our band pull. So breath in, straight spine, stick your bottom up, reach the arms forwards. Breath out, we're going to bring our hips back through, use your glutes, hips come through, band comes back over the thigh. In breath on the lower, out breath, bring the hips through, pull the band back. So with the addition of the movement now with that hip hinge, just be careful that you don't get too enthusiastic. So when you get to the top, you'll actually end up looking a bit more like this. You're leaning back. There's an awareness of your abs required just to hold that nice straight alignment when you hit the top point. Okay, so we're not letting our ribs pop forwards, we're keeping them tucked in. As we go into the hip hinge, think straight spine. So imagine there's a broomstick along your spine and we can't fold anywhere else other than at the hips. Okay, so what it doesn't want to look like is this, so we're not rounding the spine and coming up, it's staying rather straight as you go. All right, we've got another 10 seconds. And then we're back on our hands and knees. In 3, 2, and 1. Coming back onto your hands and knees. So we're going to make this movement slightly harder. We're going to reach the right leg up long. This time it stays long. Breath out to lift, breath in to lower. So using the resistance band at the back of your thigh to lift and lower through your leg. Trying to keep it as long as you can. Mine's creeping up my thighs as I'm going. Keep that form. With any of this, if it does start to feel too challenging, you can always continue the movement without the band and then just work on the movement from your leg. I'm going to move mine down a little bit just to anchor it. So I move the band just below my knee on the left leg, just to stop it from creeping up. If you've got slippery leggings on, that's what tends to happen. Out, breath up, in, breath on the way down. So just caution with this one that as you pick your leg up, we're not opening up through the hips. So you keep your pelvis pointing straight down at the mat the whole time. So we're nearly done on this leg. Keep going. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're back to our band pull. So we're going to keep with our hip hinge and pull, but as we pull, we're going to add in a hold. So we're going to get that forward through the hips. Breath out, bring your hips up, pull the band back and hold. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. In breath, let it go. Out breath coming up. If you've got your heels together, as you're holding it there, squeeze your heels as well. Keep it there. For another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold it forward, hips come through, bands comes back. We hold 10, 9, tall as you can. 8, really good posture. Wide collarbones. 3, 2, 1, 3 to go. Fold forwards, up we come, hold. Breathe. I'm reaching my fingers to the floor to really accentuate that length through your spine. Last couple. Squeeze and hold. Long spine. Just floating that head up to the ceiling. Last one. Hold it there. And then we're just going to repeat that leg lift on the other leg. Lovely. Band to the side. Okay, I'm going to keep my band where it is, just below my knees. So it's not going to ride up this time. So we reach the leg out long. Breath out, pick it up into the resistance. Breath in, lower it down. So as you're lifting your leg, there's no twisting of your spine. There's no joining in with your lower back. Everything is as steady and as neutral as we can keep it. Lift, lower. And as I did on the other side, if you do need to get rid of the resistance, that's fine. Just carry on without. Or you also have the option if you want to go back to that easier variation, which was just in and out. All right, we're nearly there. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice work. Wiggle that band back up if you've moved it down like me. It's going to go just above the knees. There we go. And then you can lie down onto your back. We're going to take the band with. So we're going to work through a bridge sequence now. I want the band in your hands just about shoulder width apart with a little bit of tension. So you can pull just slightly wider than your thighs. Feet closer together than your hips, and then push your knees outwards into the band. So we're going to feel those outer hips working. First exercise. Keep tension in the knees on the band. Keep a little bit of tension in the arms on the band. Lift all the way up into your bridge. And once you get to the top, keep those knees wide. Bring your hands down over the front of your thighs. We're going to hold our bridge position. And we're just going to pulse our hands down. Start to engage a little bit more into our back or lats. But you're going to hold that really solid shoulder bridge position. Keep the tension outwards on that mini leap around your knees. Keep those glutes nice and active. And then just pay attention to the alignment of your bridge. So I should be able to draw a nice straight line from the shoulders down to, from the knees, sorry, down to your shoulder. So we shouldn't be in a bridge in this position where our ribs are our highest point. Keep your hips up, keep your ribs in, slight length underneath. Keep going with this move for another 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Float the arms up, bring the hips down. We're going to put the two together, so we're going to move our hips and pull the band down. So you've still got that nice push out of the knees, narrower feet, wider knees. And then as you breathe out, keeping your back fairly straight, we ground the heels down, lift the hips up, pull the band over the top. In breath, lower the bum down. So I'm not rolling through the spine to articulate it with this one. I want you to think more about a hip hinge. So we open the hips, lift up, create a fold into your hips, set your bum down. Just being mindful that when we add the movement in, that you're not allowing your ribs to pop forwards at the top. We've got real control throughout this whole sequence. And don't forget about that push out of the knees in the middle. I want you to use that. Pull down, lovely. Good, keep going. Nice wide chest as you pull the band. 10 more seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bum down, arms up. So we're going to change the arm movement now. We're going to be pulling the band apart and wide. So we're going to start again with our feet fairly narrow, our knees pushed out into the band. We're going to take the spine up into bridge. Keep it there, keep your knees wide, pull the band out, pull the band in. So you're not moving your knees at all. You're just working through your shoulders, pulling them out wide to the side and then back into the middle. All the time holding this bridge, pushing your knees out into that resistance. And then for our next bit with this bridge sequence, we'll just add in that lift and lower. So you're going to coordinate your lift and lower with your band pull. So we go, breath in, lower the hips down, release the band. Breath out, hips up, pull the band apart. Lower and lift, pull. Keeping your ribs in as you lift up into your bridge, always checking in with your form. Nice work, keep it going. 10 more seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release, lower down. Placing this band to the side for now. Coming over, rolling onto your left hand side. Lay your left hand out flat, create this nice long line underneath you. Always try and keep a little lift of your lower waist so we're not just sinking into it. Yeah, be quite active there, lift the waist up. So we're going to start by hovering our heels, but don't lose your waist on that underside. As you breathe out, we're going to push the top knee up into the resistance band, and as you breathe in, lower it down. So we're working to feel your glutes working around the back of the pelvis, but nothing else should move. So there's no movement of your back, there's no movement of this waist, your rib cage. We're just getting that nice lift and lower. Control on the left, in-breath on the lower. Keeping your heels together, and like we did in kneeling, where we wanted to target the back of the pelvis a bit more, nice big squeeze of your heels. Imagine there's a 50-pound note between your heels, you don't want anybody else to get it, so you've got to keep hold of it. Squeeze into it, lift and lower. 10 more seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, lower down. As always, if you need to take the resistance band off, you can. So for your next sequence, I'm going to bring the knees a little bit higher up, but if you can, keep the resistance band on. Lift your top knee up, straighten that leg out. Breathing out, pulling back into the resistance, there goes my band again. Breathing in, glide the leg forwards. Out breath, connect and pull back. In breath and glide. So I'm using the back of my leg to pull back into the resistance. This is our side kick sequence. And as I'm pulling my leg back, I'm just checking that my lower back isn't arching and extending. And as it glides forwards, checking that the tailbone doesn't tuck underneath. So we're just holding this position where we're able to keep everything nice and fixed through here and get your leg to work here. Now, the easier variation if you need it with this side kick is to bend at the knee and keep your knee bent. Work through the same sequence, still moving from your hip joint, but that knee bend just takes a bit of load out of it, so it doesn't feel quite as heavy. Glide it in, glide it out. We've got about 15 more seconds. Keep your spine nice and still, nice and long. Glide it. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take a rest, lower it down. From there, we come up onto our elbow. Try and keep your shoulders stacked over the elbow and open up your hips a little bit so we come a little bit further forwards. We're not sitting back. Bring those hips forwards. As you breathe out, lift your waist, lift out your shoulder, and then see if you can lift your hips as well and your top knee. So we're going to hold it in this modified side plank. So we've got our obliques working on this underside. And by lifting your knee up into that resistance, you're really working into your glutes around the back of the pelvis. Option again is to get rid of the band and have a go without. In breath on the lower. Okay? Out breath again, we're going to lift and hold. If this feels really too much, shoulders not working, or you're feeling a little bit too much discomfort, just do this with a hold here. Yes, you're still working through that sequence, but we just hold our clam. All right, 3, 2, 1, one more. Out breath, lift up. We've got about 20 seconds here. Stay strong if you can. Keep that waist lifted. Keep lifting your top knee up into that band. Work at whatever level feels right to you. Maybe it's even just lying on your side with a clam hold, no band. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to work our way to the other side. We're going to pit stop here. Options. So I'm going to give you 3 different options. Our hardest variation is straight legs. Push your heels down, lift your chest up, keep your spine long, chin tucked in. We're going to hold it here. Slightly easier option if you need it. Bend at the hips and knees, lifting up through here, chin stays tucked in. Easiest option, we hold through our bridge, that sequence we've just worked through, maybe pushing your hands down to the floor just to accentuate it slightly. All right, whichever one you're going for, I'm going to go big with my full. Bum comes up, long spine, lift and hold. So what I'm not letting happen is this. This is what everybody loves to do. Keeping my chin tucked in, finding that length. I'm going to feel the back of my legs working. Quite a stretch through my chest as well. 3, 2, 1. I'll show you the other variation as well. We've got 3 of these. So we're going to lift up. If you want to go for this slightly easier one. With that band on, maybe work to push your knees out slightly as well. Keep your hips high, chin tucked in, long spine. Keep holding it there for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then back to my big one for the last one. Okay. Then we've got clams, side planks, other side. Breathe out, press your heels down into the mat. Lift up, find that long line. Chin stays tucked in, bum up. You're going to feel the whole back line working. Keep breathing, keep holding for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We lower down. Clam sequence, other side. So right side lying. Keeping a waist on your lower side, hover through your heels. We start with those clams, lift and lower. Keeping control through all of those same watch points. So the waist, yeah? Keep that little mouse hole. Feel like you're lengthening out your top waist. That should help with that lift of your lower side. If your glutes have had enough, continue your clam, but get rid of your band. Mine are definitely working hard now. And then we'll go through the same sequence. So after this one, we'll work through our side kick. Okay, we'll keep going for another 15 seconds. Squeeze those heels as well. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Side kick. Keep length now. Really point your toes. Stretch that top waist out. Glide it forwards. Breath in. Breath out. Pull back into that resistance. Checking in again with your lower back. You've got this nice free hand here, use it. So check the ribs aren't poking forwards at the front. Place it on the small of your back, just watch that your back isn't joining in. Option again, remember, is to go with a bent knee. So just making your lever shorter, not as much load. Or get rid of your band completely and just glide. Find a position that feels good. As long as you're moving, as long as you're working through this sequence, how you do it, as long as you're working to fatigue, I don't mind. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. If we're going for it, let's try those side planks. Options, if you remember, is just to hold the clam without the side plank if you want to. Okay, let's do it. Open up your hips, bring them forwards. Really strong through this shoulder. Just watch it's not out there, okay? Tuck it in underneath. So we go lift the waist, lift up the shoulder, then we go and we hold. 3 rounds. Keep long through your spine, checking the ribs aren't popping forwards. Stay straight. Last 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. 2 more. We get breath out, lift, hold it there. Breathe. Keep that length, keep pushing that top knee up into that resistance. Keep going. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one, let's do it. Up and hold. 10. What do I say? 10, it's 20. Wishful thinking, that's why. Glutes are getting tired. All right, now 10-second countdown. Go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower yourself down. Okay, final bit of work. Taking the band off now, and then carefully make your way up into standing. From your standing position, take your feet just slightly wider than hip width, toes pointing out to the side. Keep your chest up, keep your back straight, so slight tailbone out. Sink into a plie on your in-breath. On your out-breath, lift back up. If you've got a mirror so you can check your side profile, you might find it quite useful. Just watch that the shoulders aren't rounding. We're trying to stay as upright as possible, just to start with. We will make this bigger shortly. Okay, so straight and tall. Your main focus is on wide knees. Yeah, so pushing those knees out. Like there's an imaginary broomstick in between your knees. You can't bring those knees in. So no knock knees. Just work through that lift and lower. If you can hear that grinding in my knee, little musical orchestra going on. All right, we've got another 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sink in and hold. Hold it here. And then just alternate little heel raises from one side to the other. Focusing still on really pressing those knees outwards, keeping your chest up, keeping your tailbone out. Lift, lower. Good. Keep going for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rise up slowly. Hands come back onto the hips. We go again. In breath, lower, out breath, lift. Now create a little bit more fold into your hips. So as you're bringing your knees down, or sorry, as you're taking your knees out, your chest is sinking down just slightly. So if we look from the side now, so we're getting a little fold into the hips. So I've still got that really wide stance, toes going outwards, fold and hinge. You've got to stick your bottom out. So we've spoken about that broomstick along your spine as well. So as well as in between your knees, there's a lot of witchiness going on here. You've got a broomstick along your back as well. So that stays nice and straight. Fold into it, drive up. Breath in, breath out. Keep that broom. Nice. Keep going. Last bit of work here. Still making noise with my knees. Telling me we're nearly done. Final 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Heel toe your feet all the way back in, and you're all done.